Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Source. Continuing with NFL Week 2. Got Seahawks-Lions. This matchup last year was crazy. It was like 100 points scored in it. This one's in Detroit at Ford Field again. Line is Detroit minus 4.5 now. Total sitting at 47.5. Let's go.
Welcome to The Source. The Source. Source. Hey, get the Source.
So early action was all over the Seahawks in this one. Seems like people went out and bet Seattle when it was sitting at 5.5. Now that it's down to 4.5, we are seeing some Lions action coming in. Public's about split even as I'm recording this. Sharp action's still definitely on Seattle. So let's start with last week's game. And I mean, the hype could not have been higher for this Seahawks team. They added prospects, Smith and Jigba, Zach Charbonnet from UCLA. They added that to an already good offense. They brought back their old defensive captain, Bobby Wagner. They drafted stud corner Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois to pair him with Tariq Woolen. I mean, vibes were high in Seattle entering this season. And they were playing their division rival, the Rams, who were basically on the opposite side of the spectrum. I mean, Stafford looked like a shell of himself when he was healthy last year. Cooper Kupp's on the IR. Defense lost a ton of talent. So the Seahawks probably beat the shit out of the Rams last week, right? No, they did not. Quite the opposite, actually. Seahawks got flat out embarrassed on their home field, and it's not like one side of the ball was to blame either. The Seahawks were terrible in nearly every phase of the game. The Seahawks pass defense, which was one of their strengths last year, by the way, and is supposed to be better this year, they got beat up on by Tutu Atwell and a fifth-round rookie. Matt Stafford averaged 8.8 net yards per attempt. That was second in the league last week, only to Tua. Matt Stafford also had 7 completions of 16 or more yards. That was third in the league last week to Tua and Kirk Cousins. Stafford was also an assassin on third downs. 8 of 12 for 122 yards on third down. The Rams basically did whatever they wanted over the middle of the field. Now this week, adding Witherspoon to the mix should help. He didn't play last week. He had a hamstring issue. But keep in mind, it's his first career start. He's supposed to be a stud, but it's his first career start. I don't know how much Witherspoon being on the field moves the needle for me here. The most concerning part of the Seahawks defense last week had to be the pass rush, or the lack of pass rush, I should say. I mean, this is a Rams offensive line that was one of the worst in the NFL last year. Rams were 31st in adjusted sack rate and 28th in pressure rate allowed. This was a bad offensive line last year. Seattle pass rush was non-existent, generating pressure on just 15.4% of dropbacks. That was the second lowest in the league. So how do they expect to get pressure on Jared Goff in this one? The Lions have one of the best offensive lines in football. They were second in adjusted sack rate and 10th in pressure rate allowed last season, and they should only be better this year with Vitae, their right guard. He's back from injury. He missed all of last year. The good news for the Seahawks would be the Lions' star left tackle, Taylor Decker. He's most likely not playing in this game, and that's huge. But still, even without Decker, the Lions' offensive line is still better than the Rams, and Seattle did nothing on the Rams' offensive line. And this is a huge factor. You should be looking at these numbers every week. When it comes to Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence specifically, these quarterbacks that have extreme splits under pressure, I put this graphic up last week, and I'll bring it up again. Last season, Jared Goff, 30th in passer rating when pressured, 59.6. With a clean pocket. He was third in the league with a 113.6. You have to pressure this guy. And it's even scarier knowing that this game's at home at Ford Field. Jared Goff's home away splits are also extreme. At home last year, 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, compared to 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the road. Second best passer rating in the NFL at home, compared to 18th on the road. Now, something positive I will give the Seahawks defense from last week is they didn't let the Rams do shit on the ground. 37 carries for 81 yards. That's 2.2 yards per carry. Seahawks run defense was second best in the entire NFL in week 1. Not that the Rams rushing attack is anything special, but still, if Seattle can bring that run defense into Detroit and put more pressure on Jared Goff, that would be huge. Considering the Lions put 45 points up on the Seahawks last year without Amon-Ra St. Brown, and obviously Gibbs was still in Alabama, so any defense could help here. Now, on the other side of the ball, the Seahawks offense looked terrible last week. No other way to say that. But, like I just mentioned about last year's game, I mean, the Seahawks lit the Lions defense up. Geno Smith threw for 320 and a couple touchdowns. Rashad Penny had a $150 and 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. But that was against the Lions defense in the first half of the season when they were practical joke awful. From weeks 9 to 18, the Lions dramatically improved on defense. 11th in points per game allowed, 5th in sacks per game, 6th in takeaways per game. So the Lions defense in the second half of last year, completely different story than the Lions in the first half. And this is a Lions defense that added a lot of pieces specifically to to the secondary, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Cameron Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, and they drafted safety Brian Branch, who had a pick 6 in the Chiefs game. So overall, we should see a much better defensive performance from the Lions in this one. I mean, anything's better compared to getting lit up for 48 last year. Before I get to the bet, I actually have a prop. So Prop Beaver told me he saw Geno Smith over 1.5 passing touchdowns on Outlier on the Insights tab. If you don't know what that is, I'll share real quick how to do that. Go to outlier.bet, click on the Seahawks game, and then go to the Insights tab. Scroll through, and here it is. Geno Smith over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You can see right here he's cashed this in 12 of his last 17 games. I like that. Let's open up this chart here. 13 of the last 18, 72% hit rate. I like that. Now let's filter it specifically to road games. Even better. He's cashed it in 7 of his last 9 games on the road. I like that. Now let's check out the matchup. This will show these two teams head to head, and you can see Lions red zone efficiency last year just 27th with an average success rate of 63.8%. I like that. So we got the trends working, the matchup working, and the splits working. I like it. Let's click add bet. Geno Smith over 1.5 passing touchdowns at -115. As far as my pick in the game, all right, I know that everything I just said points to a Detroit Lions bet. So after hearing all my notes of this game, you're probably thinking, how does he not bet the Lions? That's what I was thinking, but there's a trend that is terrifying here. So check this out. My friend actually texted it to me. So teams off a double-digit loss in week 1 facing a team not off a double-digit loss. So basically a team that got blown out in week 1. 32-16-2 against the spread since 2014. But check this out. When those teams are on the road, 19-2-1 against the spread. So basically, when a team gets blown out in week 1 and then goes on the road in week 2, everyone fades them and they almost always cover. 19-2-1 since 2014. My football brain says bet the Lions, but my betting brain says take the Seahawks and the point. So I think I'm going to take Seattle. I hate it. But I think I'm going to play Seahawks plus 4.5. I'll let you know for sure what the final decision is on the live show at 11 a.m., but I really think I'm going to play Seattle here. If you want my top bets, parlay of the day, if you want to join the Discord. Oh, against the spread contest. So week 1 was a signed Keenan Allen helmet. KC Kerback won that one. Week 2 is a signed Drake London USC mini helmet. Just head over to KyleKirms.com and make your 4 picks against the spread. Winner gets the helmet. NFL Week 2, another football Sunday is upon us. Remember to bet responsibly, and hopefully I'll see you in the comments, the live show, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll go through all the games.